Hi. Today I'm talking about my favorite Elton John album, Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy. Now, it's really hard to have an absolute favorite, but it's my favorite, at least of today. And it's I sort of feel like it was the pinnacle of that early success, like the first run that he had. He changed bands after this too. Ray Cooper came in, but on the next album after Captain Fantastic was Rock of the Westies. And Rock of the Westies, he changed the band up, added some players. It was much more percussive. Good stuff. Kenny Pazzarelli came in, so I guess Dee would have been replaced at that point. But this is the last album with the band. And by the band, that's another thing that I think is sort of overlooked. To his credit, put it this way, that he actually maintained the same band, and credited Bernie, things like that. They were like a little unit. We kind of, as fans, knew who these people were in his band. And so it really kept the integrity of their product. Anyway, what a great record. It comes with all kinds of goodies, has a lyric book here, right? Pictures, there's like a little scrapbook. There's a fold-out poster. I won't pull the poster out. The poster is actually the same as this. It goes down more. It's a full poster. First of all, just starts off acoustic, and you're like there, nice, which is unusual because, Elton mostly is a piano guy. Most of the music is piano rock driven. So yeah, that was unusual to have the acoustic guitar start off, and then, it's kind of like Stairway to Heaven. This song just builds. There's like a midsection, then it steps up to the next one. When you get to the end, when it's like, for cheap, easy meals, we're hardly a home on the range, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So good, man, and it's like too hot for the band with a desperate desire for change. That whole thing, we've thrown in the towel too many times, it just builds and builds. If you know this album, you know what I'm talking about. Till it gets to that, from the end of the world to your town. Dun, 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 dun. Then you're back in the acoustic guitar, kind of this real, and some of the lyrics, like when he's talking about sweet chocolate biscuits, I don't know. Somebody help me on that one. I actually met Bernie Taupin, and I kind of thought he was sort of a jerk. I don't know him personally. He may have just been a jerk during that. But I am very impressed with him as an artist. And so, once again, I don't know the guy. So Bernie's writing from sort of an insider's perspective, possibly giving us hints. I don't know. It really doesn't matter, I suppose. But that was subject matter for just regular pop music. Was a little unusual. See the Letches crawl with the call girls under the table, watch them dig their graves, because Jesus don't save the guys in the Tower of Babel. Yeah, Bernie's a genius, man. He's, I think he was actually a poet laureate of all of England at one point. May still be, I just don't know. Bitter Fingers. You'll write a song with bitter fingers. I'm going to push so few to tell you why. Then more streets start talking when the keyboard is hollow, haunted eyes. Just such good melodies, man. He is a fantastic melody writer. I totally concur that this was a match made in heaven. Yeah, they're just fantastic writers. I cannot say enough about that. And once again, the production, Gus Dudgeon, absolutely phenomenal producer, does not get enough credit. And I'm talking this stuff, everything is in its little place. And everything, the stereo mix is really, it's spacious. It's got that 70s like clarity to it. There was something about the 70s, mid-70s pop music where every little thing had its place. Mixed well, it's everything about it. The production of this album is fine, from the artwork, down to the label here is even really nice, and that was on the original as well. This is like I say, this is a later edition. Tell Me When the Whistle Blows, and Tell Me When the Whistle Blows, it's, oh man, it's so good. It reminds me of that producer Tom Bell. He did a thing with the Tom Bell sessions, and it kind of has that, they were calling it the Philly sound, the Philadelphia sort of soul sound or whatever. And that's what this song has. It's different than a lot of this other stuff. Now, the story behind that is apparently Elton John was going to get married to a woman. This was back, I think, late 60s, and either Long John Baldry or Bernie, someone talked, one of those two, I'm pretty sure, talked Elton out of it and said, you know, I don't know if they knew that he was gay. I don't know if it was just because it was a bad match or what the deal was, but they talked him out of it. And, you know, someone saved my life tonight. Now, Elton got his name from, he worked with two artists, Long John Baldry. I think that was a thing called bluesology, and then Elton Dean. Those two people, he took the first name of Elton Dean and the last name. Back in those days, I was young. I was like 10 years old. We had things like Tire Beat magazine, and I remember seeing David Cassidy and Elton John like on the same magazine. The background vocals, and they're very organic. In other words, like they're singing this stuff live. I mean, not necessarily live. I mean, I'm not saying they never did any overdubs, but it's stuff that can be reproduced live, and it's with musicians and voices that we already know. In other words, we're not getting session musicians, we're not getting, you know, quote, outsiders. There's occasionally a special guest, but pretty much, you know, he kept it to the band. That was really cool. So anyway, yeah, you get to side two here, and we've got Meal Ticket. So Meal Ticket, it's about surviving, scratching, apparently, you know, them being poor and all that. But it's a great song. I mean, it's got a little bit of grit to it, but a lot of this stuff too, I think Bernie's really, and Elton reflects the humor melodically or instrumentally or whatever. You can feel the humor in the instrumentation and the music and the attitude, as well as in the lyrics themselves. And a lot of it is pretty, you know, tongue-in-cheek, of course. Better off dead, better off dead, better off dead, better off dead, better off dead. Well, man, what a great song. Now that I think about it, yeah, it's just the melodies to these songs are just so fantastic. I highly recommend this album if you don't have this album. But and then we're back to writing, of course. You know, like I said, they met through the mail, and that's their thing. It's Bernie and Elton writing, and one of the lines is, "Will we still be writing in approaching years?" You know, they didn't for a while. That's another thing. I guess it was after Blue Moon. Rock of the Westies was right after this, and Elton and Bernie kind of had this breakup sort of a thing. He came back with they had a single called Ego, which I thought was one of their coolest tunes. So then he came back with an album called A Single Man, where he had a completely different lyricist, and you can really feel it. I mean, the album's interesting. There's some fine. I'll tell you what, I'll take anyone to task who argues that that's not a good album, because it is a good album. It's just different. It's definitely not as good lyrically. So this is kind of heralding some of the end of their writing, but then came back. There's a sequel to this album. I think it's called The Captain and the Kid, and it is absolutely a stunning album. And one thing I do like, he kind of lost his voice. You know, everyone grows older, and you know, he started going, oh, I don't know. He just got more boisterous and lower, and was doing a lot of drugs, of course. You know, just kind of lost it during the 80s. I thought he got pretty lame. But rambling on, and We All Fall in Love Sometimes. I just saw that there's a new EP out with this on it. Wise men say, it looks like rain today, crackled on the speakers. Oh man, it's a good song. It's just got a yearning to it. If you have the album, you know what I'm talking about. And then of course we have Curtains. And so the album just sort of takes you home. Used to know this old scarecrow was my song. Down, 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 down. Real interesting. Sounds almost like a electric sitar keyboard kind of thingy going on. It's pretty cool. And but then at the end they get into this, lock the low, baby, lock the low, la la. Once again, background vocal, just fantastic, and it just kind of sends you off with those two chords, just going back and forth from the 1 to the 4, 1 to the 4, And then, you know, back then we had fade outs as well. Generally speaking, the song just kind of never ended. It just sort of wound down, and, you know, it kind of, sort of like an earworm, just goes on forever and ever. All right, well, that's a great, great, great record. I highly recommend it.